Self-worth is your crown, wear it before anyone else can see it. Those words carry more truth than most people realize, because before the world will ever treat you like a queen, you must first believe that you are one. You can't wait for someone to come and tell you that you're special, beautiful, or valuable. You must decide that for yourself. And when you do, when that belief is rooted deep inside of you, the way you carry yourself changes. You no longer walk through life asking to be loved, you walk knowing that you already are. You stop trying to prove your worth to people who never deserve to witness your light in the first place. You understand that your energy is precious, your presence is power, and your heart is not something that anyone can just have access to. True self-worth doesn't scream for attention, it moves in silence. It doesn't need validation from likes, followers, or compliments. It comes from a quiet confidence, an unshakable understanding that you are enough as you are. This kind of woman doesn't chase love, she attracts it. She doesn't settle for temporary pleasure, she waits for something that matches her purpose. When you truly wear your crown, you stop comparing yourself to other women. You realize that your path is yours alone, and no one can walk it like you. You stop doubting your beauty because you see it reflected in your strength, your resilience, your ability to rise every time life tries to push you down. But wearing your crown doesn't mean you'll never have moments of doubt or weakness. Every queen has her storms, her sleepless nights, her moments of questioning. The difference is she doesn't stay there. She feels the pain, but she doesn't let it define her. She wipes her tears, adjusts her crown, and continues forward. Because she knows that self-worth isn't built by what others give her, it's forged by what she survives. Every heartbreak, every betrayal, every rejection becomes another jewel in her crown. Every time she chooses herself over someone who disrespected her, the gold of her spirit becomes stronger. The world will test your self-worth. It will send people who only want pieces of you, not the whole of you. It will send moments that make you question if you're enough. It will whisper that maybe you should settle, lower your standards, or accept less because that's what everyone else is doing. But you must remember, the world only values what you show it to value. If you act like your time, body, and heart are cheap, people will treat them that way. But if you carry yourself like your energy is sacred, like your love is rare, like your attention is a privilege, people will rise to meet that level. Self-worth teaches others how to treat you. When you start wearing your crown, you stop apologizing for who you are. You stop dimming your light just to make others comfortable. You stop saying yes when your soul is screaming no. You become unapologetic about your standards, your dreams, your boundaries. And let me tell you, nothing scares the insecure and immature more than a woman who knows what she deserves. Because when you know your worth, you can't be manipulated by attention, flattery, or gifts. You can see through fake love, you can smell disrespect from miles away, and you have the courage to walk away not because you don't care, but because you care about yourself too much to stay where you're not valued. Self-worth isn't loud. It's in your posture, your silence, your choices. It's in the way you no longer explain yourself to those committed to misunderstanding you. It's in the way you hold your peace instead of trying to prove your point. It's in how you take care of yourself, not out of vanity, but out of respect. When you eat well, rest, work hard, and grow spiritually, you're sending a message to the universe. I am preparing myself for the life I deserve. And that energy is magnetic. People feel it, men especially feel it. They can sense when a woman doesn't need them to complete her, but values them enough to walk beside her. That's when they run to her, not because she's trying to impress them, but because her confidence becomes irresistible. But here's the truth most won't tell you: self-worth is a lifelong journey. You won't wake up one morning completely healed and confident. It's built daily through small choices. It's saying no to what doesn't serve you. It's keeping promises you make to yourself. It's forgiving yourself for your past and still believing in your future. It's loving your flaws not because they're perfect, but because they're yours. It's looking in the mirror and saying, I am enough, even on my worst days. When you start doing that, your energy shifts. You stop begging for love and start becoming love. You stop waiting for the world to give you a crown and start realizing you were born with one. And yes, some people will fall away when you start wearing your crown. Not everyone can handle your growth. Some liked you better when you were unsure, insecure, easy to control, but that's okay. A queen doesn't lower her crown just because it makes others uncomfortable. She understands that letting go is part of rising higher. Every time you walk away from something that disrespects you, you're showing the world and yourself that your value isn't negotiable. You're proving that your peace is more important than temporary company. So wear your crown even when no one notices it, even when no one claps for you, even when you're still healing, because self-worth isn't about the applause, it's about the alignment. It's about standing tall when life tries to break you. It's about choosing yourself again and again until it becomes natural. And one day, without even realizing it, you'll look back and see how far you've come. You'll see the woman you became not because someone loved you right, but because you decided to love yourself first. That's the kind of energy that makes men run to you, opportunities open for you, and life align with you. That's what it means to wear your crown before anyone else can see it. Emotional control is your weapon, never hand it to anyone. There is nothing more powerful, more magnetic, and more unshakable than a person who masters their emotions. When you can remain calm in chaos, when you can smile through betrayal, when you can walk away without losing your peace, that's when you've reached a level of strength that few ever touch. The world is full of people who know how to provoke, manipulate, and test your limits. But emotional control is the shield that protects your power from being stolen. Because make no mistake, emotions are energy, and whoever controls your emotions controls you. If someone can make you angry, jealous, or desperate at will, they own your peace. When you let others dictate how you feel, you're not living, you're reacting. True power lies in staying centered no matter what's happening around you. When someone tries to insult you, emotional control whispers, I know who I am and your words don't define me. When life throws unexpected pain your way, emotional control says, this too shall pass, and I will rise from it stronger. It's not about suppressing your feelings, it's about mastering your response. Because reacting emotionally to everything means giving away your crown piece by piece. Every time you lash out, argue, or beg for someone to see your worth, you lose a part of your power. But when you stay still, observe, and respond with purpose, that's when you become untouchable. In relationships, emotional control separates the needy from the grounded, the desperate from the desired. The moment you let a person see that they can trigger you, they will. Not always out of malice, but because human nature tests boundaries. When you stay calm in the face of games, silence, or emotional manipulation, you confuse the ones who expected chaos. They realize they can't play you, and that shifts the entire dynamic. That's when respect enters the picture. Because no one respects a person who's easily shaken, but everyone is drawn to someone who can face pressure with grace. Let's be honest, emotional control doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you learn to feel deeply without letting emotions dictate your actions. It's crying privately but showing up publicly with strength. It's hurting but choosing silence over drama. It's loving someone deeply but being willing to walk away when they no longer respect you. It's not coldness, it's discipline. Emotional maturity is the ability to say, I could lose my temper right now. I could scream or beg, but I won't, because my peace is more valuable than proving my point. That kind of restraint is rare, and that's what makes it powerful. People often think strength comes from control over others, but real strength comes from control over self. Emotional control is how you lead your life instead of letting life lead you. It's how you make decisions based on logic and purpose, not impulse and pain. When you control your emotions, you choose clarity over confusion. You choose growth over reaction. You choose yourself over temporary satisfaction. You start realizing that not every situation deserves your reaction. Some people just want your energy. They feed on chaos because it validates their insecurity. When you don't engage, you starve their power. Think about how much damage has been done in moments of emotional weakness, words you can't take back, relationships you stayed in too long, opportunities you lost because you reacted too soon. Now imagine how much peace you'd have if you learned to pause before responding. That pause, that split second where you breathe, think, and decide, that's where emotional control lies. That's where maturity begins, because not everything deserves your fire. Some things deserve your silence. In love, emotional control is the foundation of attraction. The moment you become overly emotional, begging, chasing, or over-explaining, you lose your mystery. And mystery is part of what makes you irresistible. A man or woman who stays calm under emotional tension radiates confidence. It's not arrogance itself, mastery. They don't need to prove anything. They don't need to win an argument. Their silence becomes louder than words. That's the kind of energy that makes people respect you even when they don't understand you. Emotional control also builds trust with yourself. When you know you can rely on yourself not to fall apart when things go wrong, you move differently. You stop fearing loss, rejection, and failure because you've seen yourself handle worse. You start trusting your ability to survive anything, and that trust gives birth to unbreakable confidence. It's the kind of confidence that says, no matter what happens, I'll be okay. That's freedom. That's real emotional independence, but achieving this level of control requires practice. It's not easy to stay calm when someone disrespects you or when life feels unfair. It's not easy to breathe through pain instead of reacting to it. But the key is awareness. Awareness is the first step toward control. When you feel triggered, pause and observe. Ask yourself, why am I reacting this way? What emotion am I protecting? This reflection breaks the automatic cycle of reaction. Over time, you'll notice you don't respond to things the way you used to. You'll stop matching energy and start protecting yours. And remember, this emotional control isn't about being emotionless. It's about choosing strength over sensitivity when it matters. It's about not letting someone's chaos disturb your peace. It's about knowing that your emotions are meant to serve you, not enslave you. You still feel joy, love, and compassion, but you also know how to regulate pain, anger, and disappointment. That balance is what turns an ordinary person into a leader of their own life. The truth is, emotional control makes you unpredictable. People can't manipulate what they can't read. When you're calm, composed, and emotionally grounded, others can't use your emotions against you. You become the one who dictates the energy in every situation. You stop being a player in someone else's game and start becoming the one who defines the rules. That's what emotional power looks like: silent, unbothered, and strategic. And maybe the most important part, emotional control protects your peace. In a world that constantly tries to provoke, divide, and drain you, peace is priceless. Guard it like treasure. Don't let anyone make you angry just because they're miserable. Don't let anyone steal your joy just because they can't find theirs. Protect your inner calm like your life depends on it, because it does. Without peace, you can't think clearly, love deeply, or live freely. So never hand your emotional control to anyone, not to a lover, not to an enemy, not even to your past. Keep your power. Smile when they expect you to break. Stay kind when they expect you to lash out. Walk away when they expect you to beg, because the moment you realize you control your emotions, you realize no one else ever truly had power over you. Emotional control isn't weakness, it's wisdom. It's the quiet strength that separates those who react from those who reign. And when you master that, when you choose peace over pride, discipline over impulse, and calm over chaos, you become unstoppable. You become the storm and the stillness that follows it. Femininity with boundaries creates magnetic power that no man can resist. The world has confused softness with weakness for far too long. They've told women that being gentle, nurturing, emotional, or feminine makes them vulnerable, but that's a lie. True femininity isn't fragile. It's fire wrapped in grace. It's power clothed in elegance. It's the art of commanding respect without ever raising your voice. The most powerful women are not the loudest or the toughest. They are the ones who know how to balance warmth with wisdom, emotion with logic, love with limits. Femininity, when guarded by firm boundaries, becomes a force that captivates, heals, and leads without domination. It doesn't beg, it doesn't chase, it simply attracts. The essence of femininity lies in how you carry yourself, your energy, your softness, your calm. But without boundaries, that same energy can be drained, used, and disrespected. You see, a woman without boundaries gives too much, too soon, and too often. She overextends herself trying to please others, hoping that love will be returned in the same measure. But the truth is, people rarely value what's freely given without conditions. Femininity needs protection, just like a flower needs roots. Boundaries are those roots. They keep your beauty from being trampled, your love from being taken for granted, and your kindness from being mistaken for weakness. When a woman embraces her feminine energy, her intuition, her compassion, her creativity, her sensitivity, she steps into a natural rhythm that the masculine is instinctively drawn to. But when she pairs that energy with boundaries, she becomes irresistible. Because men don't just want a woman who gives, they crave a woman who knows when to stop giving. They are magnetically pulled to a woman who knows how to say no with poise, who knows her worth without having to announce it, who knows how to walk away from anything that demands her peace. That's the paradox of feminine strength. The softer you are, the stronger you must be within. Boundaries don't make you cold, they make your warmth meaningful. When you give affection to everyone, it loses value. But when you reserve your attention, your love, and your energy for those who truly deserve it, your presence becomes sacred. Men feel it. They feel when they're in the presence of a woman who doesn't need validation, who doesn't play games, who knows herself. She doesn't demand respect. She earns it simply by the way she carries herself. She can be loving and kind, but she can also be firm and decisive. That contrast, that balance, is what keeps her magnetic. Femininity with boundaries is not manipulation, it's self-respect. It's saying, I can love you deeply, but I will never lose myself in you. It's knowing that being emotional doesn't mean being irrational. It's feeling everything, but not letting feelings control your life. A woman with this mindset doesn't chase attention, she attracts admiration. She doesn't compete with other women because she knows no one can replicate her essence. She's not threatened by rejection because she knows it's just redirection. And because of that confidence, men are drawn to her not out of lust, but out of reverence. Let's be honest, many women were taught that to keep a man, you must give endlessly. Your time, your body, your forgiveness, your energy. But the opposite is true. What keeps a man interested is not endless giving, it's selective giving. It's when your love feels like a privilege, not a guarantee. Men are wired to pursue, but they only continue to pursue what they respect. When a woman shows that her boundaries are non-negotiable, when she calmly walks away from disrespect instead of arguing, when she chooses silence over drama, when she maintains dignity even in heartbreak, she becomes unforgettable. because the world doesn't see that kind of discipline often. Boundaries are not walls, they're doors with locks that you control. You choose who gets access to your heart, your body, your energy, and not everyone deserves it. Too often, women let the wrong people drain them because they confuse love with sacrifice, but real love doesn't require you to lose yourself. Real love meets you where your peace lies. So when you stand firm in your boundaries, you're not pushing people away, you're filtering out what's unworthy. You're protecting your divine energy. You're telling the world, I know my value and I will not discount it. That's what makes your femininity magnetic. A feminine woman with boundaries doesn't fight for control. She doesn't need to. Her energy naturally influences the environment around her. She knows how to communicate with empathy, but also with clarity. She listens, but she doesn't tolerate disrespect. She gives second chances, but not endless ones. Her presence heals, but she refuses to fix what refuses to grow. She nurtures, but she never enables. This combination makes her unforgettable because she embodies peace, not chaos. You see, men are not truly drawn to beauty alone, they're drawn to energy, and the energy of a woman who is deeply feminine yet fiercely self-respecting is electric. It awakens the best in men, their protectiveness, their leadership, their desire to provide and serve. When a woman stands in her feminine power but maintains her standards, she becomes a mirror that reflects to a man who he truly can be. She doesn't lower herself to gain his love. She rises higher and inspires him to meet her there. But femininity with boundaries isn't just about relationships, it's a way of living. It's how you carry yourself at work, how you speak, how you react to conflict. It's choosing grace over aggression, but never allowing yourself to be a doormat. It's holding your head high when people underestimate you. It's choosing elegance in a world that rewards loudness. It's mastering the art of being both soft and strong, both kind and commanding. The truth is, people often test boundaries to see if they exist. When you let someone cross them without consequence, you teach them that your energy is negotiable. But when you calmly enforce them not through anger, but through consistency, you teach others how to treat you. That's when your energy begins to shift. That's when you attract people who respect you automatically. A woman's power doesn't come from acting masculine. It comes from mastering her femininity. But femininity without self-respect invites exploitation. Femininity with boundaries invites admiration. One drains you, the other empowers you. One makes you a follower, the other makes you the standard. And when you become the standard, when you love yourself so completely that others must rise to meet your energy, that's when your magnetism becomes undeniable. So, embrace your softness. Be nurturing, loving, compassionate, but guard that heart like the treasure it is. Speak with kindness, but never let your words betray your worth. Walk with grace, but let every step remind the world that you will not be walked over. Because femininity with boundaries isn't just attractive, it's transformative. It changes how people treat you, how life responds to you, and how love finds you. The moment you realize that your softness is your power and your boundaries are your protection, you stop chasing validation and start attracting devotion. And that beautiful harmony of strength and grace is the kind of energy no man can ever resist. And in the end, that's the real secret, the woman who understands that her femininity is not a weakness, but her greatest strength. And her boundaries are not walls, but the gates to her peace, becomes unstoppable. She doesn't demand love, she inspires it. She doesn't need to chase. She magnetically attracts everything aligned with her worth. The world bends for the woman who walks in both grace and discipline, because her energy speaks before she ever opens her mouth. She is peace in chaos, softness in a hard world, and power in silence. Her love feels rare because it comes with respect, with limits, with self-awareness, and that combination is irresistible. A man might find beauty anywhere, but he will only find depth where a woman knows her value. So keep your crown steady, your spirit gentle, and your standards unshakable. Don't ever apologize for expecting effort, honesty, or respect. Those are the bare minimum for a queen. Your femininity is divine, your boundaries protect it. When you stand in that truth, you'll see that the right people aren't intimidated by your power, they're inspired by it. And that's how you become unforgettable.